Seeing my boy Inosuke slide through that wormhole and just after dislocating his joints and just seeing these poor girls just shocked and in awe, I thought there'd be no topping that as like my favorite comedy point in the episode, but then I see the worm belt and I can't be the only one who sees the resemblance to Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Here's Plank, and here's the worm belt. It is literally like the sister of the Plank. I mean, this show has the craziest of action, the most hilarious of situations, and sometimes the most frightening of situations as well. It just is such a mixed grab bag of ideas, and it feels like no matter what it's putting front and center, you're gonna have a great time. I really thought this would just be Tanjiro's episode, and then when they kick off the episode with basically Tengen finding one of his wives, Hina, I was a little worried, I have to admit, because for me, even though I know he's going to be a relevant aspect to this fight, the opening says as much, and a blind man can guess that someone you introduce who is a badass with two swords that are attached to a chain that he can spin around, it would be ridiculous not to include him in one of the most dangerous fights we've seen in this anime. However, I wanted to see Tanjiro, especially with his new fire-breathing techniques. Clearly, I mean, if we look at season 1, it was all about water breathing, but now we're seeing that apparently that's not where his focus should be. So I want to see what he's capable of doing against someone who is absolutely insane. Daki is ridiculously powerful, and even though he can't beat her, I want to see what he's able to do. So I was very happy that almost half of this episode was Tanjiro putting up the fight of his life, thinking about those that he's lost, even recently, like Rengoku, getting that heat, setting his heart aflame, getting a little bit of backstory with some of his training, the fact that before, if he did multiple strikes using this flame ability, you know, he pretty much would be passed out, almost having a heart attack by what it looks like. I think it's really interesting because the idea that the more feverish he is, the more powerful and the more accomplished he is with this type of fighting style, but at the same time, it is definitely a health worry. I mean, fevers themselves can actually kill people. It's no laughing joke, despite it being kind of directed as a situational scene, just little cute funny moment. Please don't tell anyone that I have like 100 and something fever. But still, it's something to think about, because if he overworks himself to the point of, even if he's not having like, you know, kneeling over and basically having a heart attack from it, what if he burns too hot and actually kills himself? So there's actually some worries with his ridiculous powers. But I think Demon Slayer has always been good at having limiters, so characters can't just be OP for the sake of being OP, because they are Tanjiro, they are the protagonist, they're always gonna win. Shit, Tanjiro loses more than he wins, but it's part of the journey of seeing him get there and try to save his sister. Seeing the numerous ways how he, like, I mean, his sword was already looking rather beat up, and then you see what he was able to accomplish. Not enough to beat her, but enough to actually make her go on the defensive a couple of times and make me say, it's not going to be like the last arc. It's not going to be Tanjiro just down on his knees waiting for someone to show up and to finish the blow, hopefully, as then maybe we lose in other characters. What we're about to experience, it feels like, is Tanjiro may get winded, he may go down for the count at points, but it almost feels like he's going to remain relevant in this fight, and when he's not, it's not going to be the same regret that he had with Rengoku. At least it's how it's been directed so far. And when I saw the idea of kind of like the belt just having all the different people that it's captured, the fact that it was almost a separate entity connected to Daki, I thought was really interesting. Because last week I was talking about the idea of the limitations of where you could attack. Because from what we can see, by having the people trapped in the sash, if you hit the wrong place, I mean, if you cut from the legs down, if they were freed, they probably wouldn't have legs. So there's limitations on how you could cut. I just wasn't expecting from Zensu to Tengen to just have this masterfully done, almost like a chef carving a perfectly cooked turkey, and have them all be freed. But it was interesting because Inosuke is one of the more, I think, developed characters in subtle ways that Demon Slayer has. I think Zensu's been amazing this arc so far, really getting some characterization and just good focal points. But when you compare Inosuke, someone just wanting to fight the toughest of things, to actively recognizing by himself that he needs to protect those who are in danger, it's the little moments that help make it feel like, even if we're not getting the giant moments every single arc for each character, Zensu, Inosuke, they're developing alongside Tanjiro in his journey to save his sister. And the Ys were a pleasant surprise. I mean, Hina seems like the more mature of the three, but I love Makia's kind of like blunt and brute kind of attitude and just smacking some sense and kicking some ass, talking shit about the worm belt and loving Inosuke's one-liners. To, I think, Suma probably being my favorite of the three. I mean, I love her voice actress, one of my favorite in the industry. And just the idea of just how, like, she just doesn't want to be a part of this. She's not a fighter or anything like that. It was really cute. It was really adorable. And I mean, they also were kind of badass all at the same time. The most interesting thing when it came to the three wives and Tengen is the little glimpse we got in his backstory about what he said to them. The fact of the matter is, he says, value your lives first and foremost. If the mission's gonna fail the mission if it means saving your lives. The things I care about the most isn't about accomplishing missions, but seeing you three alive because you mean so much to me. It's interesting to have a Hashira have that mentality because, I mean, most of them, from what we've seen, if not all of them, you know, you die for your mission, you give it your all to take out the demons, where this man's saying, I have three wives, I love my three wives, screw the damn mission if it means I can't see them again, make sure you come to me. And it's interesting because, you know, if you live another day, you always have a chance to go back again, sort of a thing. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that mentality as well, which is why I think, you know, Hina was kind of like saying that to the others, being like, I don't think there's anything wrong with valuing our lives, even though the work kind of demands we give our lives for it. Just an interesting concept, all things considered, but it's totally in Tengen's mindset just from what we've seen of him over these 5 episodes. I mean, Demon Slayer doesn't miss. I think this arc is going to be up there with the Mugen Train as well. And the fact that we have so many episodes left and the fact that this fight kicked off so soon. I mean, I think it was in last week's video or the week before. The fact that action's already starting to be relevant is interesting because we know we still have like 6 episodes or so left of this arc. So the fact that they're already putting the focus on who should be the main boss battle of this arc. What does that mean? Is it actually going to last this long? Or is it just going to be, maybe there'll be another character we have to fight? Either way, the fact that, you know, we're getting this much craziness with all these different characters, the three wives, we have Tengen, we have our Centro trio, it really leads to some interesting combo pairings, because I'm interested to see who Tengen will primarily work with if he does have to fight alongside someone. Will it be Tanjiro, or will it be someone else? Will it just be Zensu and Inosuke with the three wives maybe taking care of business elsewhere? I don't know, but it's interesting because Demon Slayer knows how to up the ante while still remaining true to its core characteristics. Those being Tanjiro, remembering those he lost, trying to save his sister and basically push forward and become stronger while using those past losses as learning experiences. You know, just seeing all the different characters really build the ensemble cast that is Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer is bigger than just one person. Even though I think a majority of, especially casual fans, would probably say Tanjiro is what makes the show great because of his journey with his sister, losing everyone, trying to save the one person he has left. I think what makes it so great is everyone's personal journeys and how different they are, but how perfectly they mesh together. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, Muzan needs to go out, and the fact that they're all pretty much going on that same objective makes it really interesting. Of course, I am incredibly excited to see where the hell this goes. This was a great episode, and I feel like next week is going to be even better than what we saw here. Hilarious, action-packed, and full of character moments that are very subtle but noticeable, especially on those characters like Inosuke, and just the fact that he is standing up for the innocent even though he naturally is a fighter and just wants to kick some ass and take some names. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on this week's episode down below. Favorite moment, what do you hope to see with next week's episode? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.